Welcome back, everybody. Spring break is over, and we're going to start up just where we left off. It makes me so sad that I can't see you guys and hear about what you're doing and how you're doing. Hopefully, by the end of this week, we'll figure out ways so that we can get together and chat and see each other. I'd really like that. So the project is due this week. I wrote on there Tuesday. If you are done with it, just send it to Google's Classroom in the last one, the one that says final presentation. That way I can start grading them. And then as I grade them, I will post your grades up on PowerSchool. So we're going to go back to chapter 14. But before we do that, I want to just have a quick devotion with you. Yesterday, go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. Palm Sunday. Yesterday was Palm Sunday. That picture was taken in Israel when I was there 6 years ago, and that's the gate through which Jesus entered when he rode a donkey. You know, that was prophesied hundreds of years earlier that he was going to ride a donkey, that the people were going to wave palm branches, which was reserved for kings, throw their coats down on the ground so that his donkey could walk on that. There wasn't a soul in Israel that didn't know Jesus was declaring he was the Messiah, the long-awaited Messiah. Well, they were disappointed because they thought that this Messiah was going to save them from their enemies, the Assyrians, the Babylonians. And Jesus didn't come for that. He came to save our souls and our hearts. So they bricked those walls up. And they said next time someone wants to fake being a Messiah, they'll not only have to do that, they'll have to break through the walls. And if they can do that, then we'll know they're for real. And I just keep thinking, do I realize what Jesus wants to do in my life, or am I focusing on all the negative right now and not looking for what is obvious? He wants to be our Savior. So think about Palm Sunday, think about Easter. I'm so sad that we can't have our devotions together, but we can't. So we're going to try and do this online and just really focus on the Holy Week now. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Your next slide, if you haven't opened your book yet, pause this video a minute and go get your Soch book and open it to page 387 and 388. One of the topics on there is called Adjusting to Peace. Now, I know we've talked about some of this stuff, but it's been like a week and a half, and we've all been kind of preoccupied with other things. And now that we're settling in to school, I wanted to just go over it with you. I'm going to attach a worksheet. It's not one you need to turn in, but you can take notes on it if you wanted to download that now and kind of answer those questions as a study guide for you. You could do that as well. But anyway, we're on page 387 and 388, Adjusting to Peace. The returning servicemen had just flooded the job market. They all came back looking for jobs. This is going to cause problems for our female workers, for our African American workers, and so read about that. But the thing I want you to know is that people had money. They were ready to settle down, to get married. They had nowhere to spend this money. They were not making refrigerators or vacuum cleaners or stoves during the Great War, World War II. So now that the factories were up and running and they're finally making it, everybody wanted to buy it. Well, what happens when items are scarce? Let's turn to the next slide. Labor unrest. You bet. Labor unrest. There was not a lot of products, and the ones that were out there were going to be expensive. Supply and demand. We've talked about that, and also their wages didn't go up. The wages stayed the same. So there was a lot of labor unrest. That's on page 389. So make sure you read that. The next thing I want to talk about is civil rights. Look at that emoji there. I'm going to read to you the first full paragraph on page 389, and then you tell me why I picked that emoji. To deal with these problems, President Truman created a commission on civil rights. He issued an executive order in July 1948 ending racial segregation and discrimination in the armed forces. Truman also asked Congress for an anti-lynching law and an end to the poll tax as a requirement for voting. However, when Southern Democrats in Congress balked at the proposals, Truman backed off. Nonetheless, he was the first president to make equal rights a national issue. The action he took began the federal government's effort to deal with racial issues. Did you see it? Where's the, oh, you've got to be kidding me? Well, two. The first one is Truman ended racial segregation and discrimination in the armed forces. Now, if we were together, I would say to you, why is that important? Why is that important? Well, it shows the hypocrisy of it, doesn't it? We're ending racial segregation and discrimination in our armed forces, but yet we're allowing it everywhere else. The government is slowly cracking. They're realizing it's wrong, and they're slowly having the door getting ready to be flung wide open for civil rights, with Martin Luther King Jr. next. Second thing is, Truman also asked Congress for an anti-lynching law and an end to poll tax. He doesn't get it. Folks, it's 1948 and we still don't have an anti-lynching law. And in the South, they're still paying poll taxes to vote. This is ridiculous. You can see why we need civil rights, and you can see why it's all starting to boil over. Okay, go to the next slide. The fair deal. You can read that. There's a question on there about the fair deal, but just kind of know what it is. But I want you to notice the picture. It's on page 389. There's a copy of that picture hanging up in the basement of the house in Cantigny. Oh, make us sad again. We can't go to Cantigny on our field trip. But anyway, that picture's there. Did you notice what's wrong with it? Do you ever remember hearing about a President Dewey? Okay, more trivia. This is the first president to use negative campaigning, and he discovered that it worked. It worked so well that today we almost exclusively have negative campaigning. So now we know who to blame for that. Go to the next slide. Oh, you've seen this slide before. It's the origins of the Cold War. You remember what a Cold War is. It's a war without any shots being fired. Get it? Fire, hot, that would be a hot war. Packing heat, a gun, that would be a hot. Cold War, no shots being fired. Okay, so we have a Cold War with the Soviet Union. Look at all the countries that are green. Those are the Soviet Union countries. And what is ironic about this is that the Soviet Union fought, and so many men died, to free all these people from Hitler, only to turn around and take over their countries and force them to be communist. So with the Soviet Union. The other picture you see is Berlin. Berlin is a unique situation. 4 different districts in Berlin, and Berlin itself is far into the communist East Germany. Germany was divided into 2 countries back then. The Soviet Union cut off any kind of supplies coming in to Berlin. So go to the next slide. We adopted the Marshall Plan. It says it almost turned hot in Berlin, and that's when they cut off our bringing any supplies in. So President Truman approved of a huge airlift of food, fuel, and equipment. For nearly a year, we dropped off 275 flights actually dropped off food. Look at that. Can you imagine waiting out in your yard hoping one would land by you? Okay. Then we also had the Marshall Plan, where we offered $13 billion in aid to Western and Southern Europe. $13 billion, and they thought that was going to solve some of the poverty in all of Western and Southern Europe. Compare that to what President Trump just did. $2 trillion in aid. Not billion, $1 trillion in aid. And people are wondering if that's going to be enough. Wow. Okay, jump to the next slide. Containing communism abroad. We were freaking out. We're going to be talking more and more about this, but we were freaking out over communism in our country. We suspected everybody, and nobody was immune from being accused. Containment, that's the what we adopted. It's a policy, the blocking by one nation of another nation's attempts to spread the influence. We were not looking to go to war with the Soviet Union. We just wanted to stop them. If you go back to that map, you can see like a little black line. That was what we called the Iron Curtain. There is no Iron Curtain. Or you could call it the line in the sand. You cannot pass that. We wanted to contain or hold them back into that. We also got the Truman Doctrine, which promised aid to people struggling to resist threats of democratic freedom. This is going to get us into two wars, because if you are a country that wants to fight against communism, we now have said we'll help you. We formed NATO. It's an alliance which included the United States and Canada and some Western nations. Pretty interesting. You should go look up on a website, the NATO website, and see what they're doing in the world today. All right, jump to the next slide. Fear of communism at home. We were so scared of it, actually, that we adopted the House Un-American Activities Committee. They targeted actors, directors, mostly writers. The most famous one I can remember is President Reagan. He was president of the Screen Actors Guild, and they were going to accuse him of being a communist. How ironic, and then he turned into our president. Oh, I missed trivia. Check out who turned in Ethel and Julius Rosenberg. That's pretty, well, it's not funny because they both got the death penalty, but it was Ethel's brother. But check out that little trivia. Many people had their reputations and careers ruined. All right, let's jump to the next slide. Korean War. Okay, I made a video of it before spring break, so skip past the devotion. Watch that one again for all the Korean War details, because you will want to know about that. There's a bunch of questions on the sheet for that. All right, this is going to end this slide. It's going to take us through the first chapter, first section, and most of the second session. Tomorrow we'll hear more of the second session. I wish there was a way I could figure out how to know if you're all watching this. Oh, well, I missed you guys, and hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Bye.